Good evening, everybody. My name's Tom Stoukas, coming to you live from Sarnia, Ontario, on this June 16th, 2025. Yeah, I remember I was saying earlier, sorry, how things were a little boring. There's not much to talk about. Oh, well, now there's lots to talk about. So the news today, well, the last few days of the bombings, Israel and Iran basically at war with each other. And it happened so quick. And people were like, what the hell? Is like Trump know anything about this? Did he approve of this? What's going on? Obviously, he knows about it. Like, there's no way stuff like this would go on without his knowing. And, we were set up. It was set up from the start. The table was set a long time ago, and this Iraq thing and Iran thing, totally similar situation. And I lived through the Iraq run up to war, and it's like totally deja vu here. And it's really annoying because I never thought I'd see this again. But I guess they do it every 20 years. They let people forget, new generation come up, and then they do it over again, the same script. Because Iraq, same script. Evil dictator, treats their people like shit, funds terrorists, wants to get a nuke, wants to nuke Israel, is going to nuke the West. Yeah, they're not talking about Iran. This is the stuff they said about Iraq. And they kept moving the goalposts, so they had inspections, and they said, oh, they're hiding from the inspections, and they're not showing the inspectors everything. And then they called the inspectors out, and then they said, okay, no more negotiations. We want regime change and all that. So it's like the goalposts are moving here too. It's like first it was like destroy Hamas and Hezbollah. Then it's like get rid of Syria and Assad. Now it's like get rid of the nuclear enrichment, any enrichment, even for civilian reactor, which a lot of countries do enrich uranium for energy. And now it's obvious they want regime change. And I think they want to go a little further. Not just regime change, like they want to bust that Persian Empire up. A lot of oil there, a lot of natural resources, a lot of trade routes. And Israel and the US and the West would love to have a weak Iran divided. A lot of ethnic groups there, Kurds and Turks, and they all would like a little peace, and they fighting each other, and which would be fine with Israel. They wouldn't give a shit. This is like Syria, weak, fighting, divided, fine, and that's what I think they want. It's gone way past like just getting a deal, a peace, not even a peace deal, just a non-aggression deal, but. This was decided a long time ago, and Donald Trump participated in this, so it's very disappointing, but whatever. You get the thing with Trump is people are like, there's people critical, and they say, what did you expect? What did you expect from him? He was pro-Israel. He was always saying stuff, belligerent stuff about Iran. So what did you expect? Okay, first of all, during he was president for 4 years, and he had relatively good relations with Russia compared to the Obama and the Democrats and the neocons who wanted to go to war with Russia. So he had that track record. So, and just because he's buddies with Israel or friendly with Israel and Jewish donors, that could be like, hey, I don't want to get shot by these people, so I gotta make them like be nice to them. And B, he might support, he might like them, I don't know. But just because he supports Israel and he will, work in their favor, doesn't mean he would start a war, like a hot war with Iran. Like those are two different things. And when he was belligerent with Iran, he tore up the deal that Obama had. Okay, fine. You could say that was like negotiation tactic. He's just being tough, being unpredictable. Very different from a hot war. Okay? So, for people that are making fun of MAGA, disappointed MAGA people, like, they just didn't want wars, and they didn't want immigrants flooding their country, and they didn't want the woke shit. And I guess it was too much to ask, because it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. Like, at this time, it's just Israel and Iran fighting. But X is on fire, talking about the U.S. getting into it. Trump tweeted out everyone should immediately evacuate Tehran. So it's like, what the hell's going on here? If he's playing 45D chess, then he's got us fooled pretty good. I don't think he is. I think he's just giving in to his interests. I think the MAGA thing, unfortunately, because this looks just like Iraq 20 years ago. Like 100% just like Iraq. I was in university at the time, and it sucked. I didn't like it at all. It was like Nazi Germany there. Like, anybody that said anything bad about the war in Iraq was like, Saddam supporter, you know, and that's exactly what's going on right now. It's like, it's going to get ugly probably. I don't know. It's not going to be good. Like, and the thing with Iraq is, Iraq was a flat country, and it was a small population. It was like 25 million, very flat terrain, battered economy. The armed forces was like decrepit. He didn't even have control of most of the top third of the country was controlled by the Kurds, and there was like no fly zones on the bottom third and the top third of the country. So Bush went to war with that country. It was basically a defenseless country, and they actually lost more soldiers in the resistance after the invasion than during the actual invasion. And then, like I said, there's only 25 million and very easy terrain. Iran has got 90 million. They have managed to survive for 40 years under sanctions, and they got a lot of mountains, a lot of big mountains. Very hard to invade a country without those mountains. And they got allies. Saddam Hussein didn't have any allies by the end of it. He had Yasser Arafat. That's it. So there's a big difference. And this could get ugly. And I don't know, maybe they have Trump on the Epstein tape. And they said, okay, this will never see the light of day as long as you go to war with Iran. And they probably got some horrible shit on him. And they said this will never see the light of day as long as you go to war with Iran. And maybe that's what's going on. Maybe he believes what he's doing. I don't know. We'll find out. I don't think it's a good idea at all. So, and the thing is, you have to notice too is, you don't see much opposition from European leaders, from Canadian leaders. The news is barely even on the news. It's only basically on X. And the reason you're not seeing opposition is because the Europeans don't mind. They don't mind. For them, they see Iran as an enemy of Russia, as an ally of Russia, so they don't mind this war. Same with Canada, you know. So nobody's actually, in all the authorities are united on this war in the West. Like, it's not Iraq. There was a lot of dissension, like in Canada and France and Germany. They were against it. Now this is pretty unified. So as of this moment, they haven't attacked or the U.S. hasn't really declared any offensive actions. So maybe it's the biggest psych out in history. But like I said, X is on fire. That the forces are coming in, and it's going to be a sustained effort. It's going to be a long war. It ain't going to be Iraq. Iraq was a defenseless, destroyed country that was pretty well half occupied. It's not going to be nowhere near like Iraq. You know, we'll see. I don't know. If they bomb them, they'll just hunker down in those mountains. They'll have to nuke them out of there. And then, good luck. And then Pakistan is like, oh, we're going to nuke. And they would, too. You see a mad Pakistani guy with a nuke, watch out. He'll say, screw it. I'll take my chances. I don't know. 6 months and Trump screwed us over, man. All they had to do, he could have done anything else. Whatever. Just not start World War III. Anything else, I couldn't care less. I think that's a pretty reasonable request. And people say, well, you live in Canada. Why do you care? And it's like, well, it's World War III. Who knows no boundaries. And even just the run up to it, like the economy is already destroyed. This will put us over the total edge. Who knows what they have planned for us? Like, it seems like it's all sustained effort. Destroy the Western country middle class and put us into perpetual war against all these people. It's total black pill, demoralizing. Hopefully we can rebound a little from it. A little change of strategy. Because, J.D. Vance, he'll go. They're going to try and set him up for president because Trump's old. I'm sure they're going to try and... I won't be surprised by anything. Anything's on the table. So, I was going to talk about Canada tonight, but I'm just so upset about this Iran thing because I got a really bad feeling, but it's all falling apart everywhere around. So what are you going to do? I'm just going to enjoy the fresh air and not let these headlines affect me too much. But yeah, MAGA was a scam 6 months in, and Donald Trump is licking the balls of his masters, his Jewish masters. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. Same with Pete Hegseth. I wonder what blackmail they have on him. Like, I'm sure they have no shortage of blackmail. The guy was a womanizer. He was a drinker. And I don't judge people on their behavior, but that's like liquid gold for the Mossad. A drinker and a womanizer. He's like their dream come true. Oh my God. It's like, what don't they have on him? He's like, we will put Pete Hegseth in his defense. Oh, God. Shock and awe. Remember shock and awe from the Iraq war? And they were put on CNN and they were like, there was such propaganda, man. It was very scary. It was post 9/11, 9/11. So people were really all patriotic and crazy. And the shock and awe was on Baghdad, how they destroyed Baghdad, basically. And the idea was shock and awe was like going to put them into submission. But it was scary because it's like the orgy of violence and dead people. And the Americans were like, look at that. Look how beautiful it looks. And they think they're going to do a shock and awe too here in Iran. It's a scam, unfortunately. And we weren't hoping for anything. All we said was don't fight Russia in nuclear war and don't get out of the Middle East in general. Just get out of the Middle East. Pretty sure, I'm not defending their performance in running their countries, but if you look in the last 120 years at least, because you got the Ottomans before that, they were in charge of things, but so about 100 years, last 100 years, it's been a lot of Western interference, and it hasn't really gotten the best results if you look at the present situation. So maybe we should just not, like, fence it off, let them do whatever in there. Don't let them come over here. Just let them do whatever and chill out, and if they want, there, boom. But it's never going to happen, I guess, with the neocons in charge. And there's still people in the MAGA think that, oh, Donald Trump, this is all just negotiations. Well, I'm pretty sure the negotiations are over. But they could start, but it's kind of hard I don't see a negotiation where you just bombed the shit out of the country, you assassinated a bunch of their people, and you bragged about deceiving them in the previous negotiations. So I just don't see it. They just bombed their TV station tonight. Like, it's called a war from what it looks like to me. I don't know, call me crazy. Anyway, we're going to look at some of this headlines. I'm just very annoyed. I went through the Iraq war. I went through the run-up. So this is kind of annoying. I don't like dealing with this. It's a little personal for me. I didn't think I'd have to deal with this again. I thought it was just a bad memory. But the problem with the Iraq thing is, this is a bigger, the stakes are much higher here. Because I think there's more people involved. Iraq was like a defeated country. Like, it was half occupied country already. So, whatever. We'll find out in the next few hours how this, because Trump says evacuate Tehran. Like, that's almost a war crime to say that. If you say that, and then the whole city gets nuked, that's kind of like a war crime. Even, I don't know. It's like you're targeting a civilian population. So, it's kind of I think it's a crazy thing to say. All right, let's go to this. We're just going to go through the daily thing, see how it evolved. Maybe actually talk about Canada. A lot. We're just going to go quick. Gonna be speed round today. Oh, it's been a busy day. Oh, I can't do this. All right, here we go. Whew. Chinese embassy in Israel urges citizens to leave. Of course. I'm surprised they haven't done that already, actually. All right. Speed round. So we have the G7 here in Canada. It would happen today. Trump left early. Look at what's going on. We have all these Khalistani guys coming to protest the Indian Prime Minister. Obviously, it's horrible. I can't believe we let this happen in Canada. All these in Khalistan, whatever the hell that is. Look at them all. How the hell did they get into Canada? Oh my God. Look, they got a target on Modi's head. Like, that should not be allowed. But yeah, we let all these guys into Canada. So Canada's screwed. Not only is Trump screwing the world with another war, but our country here is screwed. It's like on all fronts. All right, next one. Here's a post that conditioning the peasants to accept a war that's already been decided by neocon elites. Yes, I think this war has been decided for at least since before the election. I think that's why Trump made it in without getting killed, is that he agreed to do this war. That was the ticket to get the election, and he took it. It's starting to make a little sense. Clint Russell, if you have watched Fox News this week, you now understand why they got rid of the #1 nightly news guy, Tucker Carlson. They aren't interested in ratings. They are in the business of narrative control. That's why they fired Tucker Carlson, to propagandize your grandparents into the next war. I know, I can't even watch Fox. Like, it's so like, all it ran since Trump got elected was like the anti-Semitism laws in the universities, and then now this an Iran thing and the push for the Iran war. It's pretty disgusting. It's pretty disgusting. All right. Oh, come on. So yeah, they decided on it. It was the same with the Iraq war. While the UN inspectors were in Iraq doing their work, and while there was like supposed diplomatic stuff going on, they already decided they were invading. And it came out later on that it was just a matter of like, okay, let's just do our thing, go to the UN, do all this. So yeah, these decisions get made way ahead of time. We just get conditioned to accept it. Next, in Barry, we're talking about this, hepatitis A. So I don't know what this means, if a customer got hepatitis A or if they found out an employee got hepatitis A. I don't know how that. Food handler working at has been identified as confirmed case of hep. So it's just a food handler. I wonder if any customers. Still, it's. But I could say whoever eats fast food regularly in Canada is insane and basically risking their life. Yeah, like they'll hire anybody off the street. These corporate chains, they don't care. And, you know, food is kind of important. You don't want to order, eat anything that's not not good. And I kind of joked Indians spend a lifetime gaining immunity to shit, but Canadians have not so much. So we got to catch up. I'm just kidding. Here's more Calistani bullshit. Deport. 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 It's never going to happen, but deport. All right, next post. Matt Gaetz. Maybe if George Bush tells us that Iran or Iraq has weapons of mass destruction, I'll feel better about all this. I don't know what he meant by that. I guess he's joking. An Iraq reference. Here, Trump can either listen to his oligarch Israel first owners or his voting base. Yep. We'll find out. Marjorie Taylor Greene. We'll find out. Everyone is finding out who are real America First, MAGA, and who were fake and just said it because it was popular. Unfortunately, the list of fakes are becoming quite long and expose themselves quickly. She wrote a long one. Anyway, she's come out really against the war, so she's going to be isolated. Here, it's time to die for Israel. Look at these guys. What a bunch of clowns. Warmongers. Fuck these clowns. Tim Dillon's been pretty good on this thing. He makes a lot of good points. I hope they don't take him out. Let's see what he's saying here. Let's see if I can get this.
Thing anyone's ever heard. Are people right now in the United Kingdom, is their biggest problem Iran? What is this woman speaking of? What is she talking about? What is anyone talking? Is Iran the reason that no one can afford a house? Is Iran the reason that there's fentanyl everywhere? Is Iran the reason that we've got political corruption? Is Russia the reason? Is Iran the reason that we have 12 people that own everything in this country? Is Iran the reason that we have, an epidemic of poisoned food that's killing people and children? And is Iran the reason for any of this? Is Iran the reason that corporations in America just pillage and leave a trail of death and destruction in their wake? Is Iran the reason we have no health care? I mean, this is the most insane thing I've ever heard. She's saying Iran's the enemy of the UK because people pop off. The mullahs in Iran talk a lot of shit. What are they doing? Did Iran attack the UK? Did Iran attack the United States of America? Is Russia attacking the United Kingdom or the United States of America? Am I wrong? But when she says, just get her out of here. But when she says, they're fighting a proxy war on behalf of us, and that's what the Ukraine is doing for Russia. It's on behalf of us. Number one, it's very dangerous to say because, number one, there's a lot of people in this country that are not trying to get in a war with Russia. I mean, we're not trying to do that. I don't want to be in a war with Russia. So this framing of the issue that I just don't agree with, that you're in a proxy war, your own society is collapsing.
Yeah.
Your own society is declining perpetually, year after year. Annually, things get worse. People are fleeing. And you're out there saying the most important thing to the British working class or the American working class is that the Iranian regime is decapitated with Israeli airstrikes? Can you imagine knocking on the door of a double-wide trailer and grabbing a person who is 5 months away from being homeless in our country and asking them their biggest problem? How do you think the word Iran is going to come up much? How do we get in this position? Well, Iran. When your insurance won't cover a knee operation and you have to go bankrupt to replace your hip, is your main concern that Iran be decapitated? This is the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life.
So I played that video because he totally echoed my thoughts. Like, spot on. Like, it's crazy. Like, first of all, yeah, in Canada and in the U.S., things are just falling apart in all the cities. And courts, hospitals, everything's overwhelmed. Government's incompetent. Also, so that's one thing we should concentrate as a society. And the other is, I thought the U.S. owed like $37 trillion or something. Like, how the hell are they going to go in a new war? Like, wars are expensive. So, yeah. Crazy. Next post. Israeli police spokesman accuses Iran of firing missiles at residential areas and civilians in their homes. Do these people understand the world has been watching what Israel's been doing for the past 20 months? Yeah, man. Like, I think it hurts their credibility when they complain about getting bombed. Because, like, they literally nuked Gaza in the last 2 years. I know they got attacked, but they literally flattened it. They flattened southern Lebanon, part of Beirut. Syria, multiple times they've attacked. Now Iran. So, I'm not saying they're wrong. They think they're right to do it. Whatever. History will judge them. But when you get hit, it kind of looks kind of like a bitch move when you complain about it. It's like starting a fight and then running to a cop. So, even Russia, like, you don't see them bitching when Ukraine drones them. Even, they think it's like, whatever, that's part of the war, you know? So it's kind of gay, like when they keep complaining like this, I think they make themselves look really bad, in my opinion. And you see a lot of it on X.
A building that was hit, our first responders and our bomb squad immediately arrived to the scene so that we can medically evacuate those that were injured together with the other first responders.
So yeah, you get the message. But that's my reaction. It's like, man, you guys look like dummies because you just like literally nuked a place full of people and you're going to complain about getting a few rockets shot at you, which is, it's bad, but don't act like an innocent damsel in distress, come on. Next. These goblins. Look at these goblins. America needs another draft starter pack. Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, Dan Crenshaw, and billionaire Bill Ackman. Yeah. Let them go fight Iran. These little goblins. Next. Jimmy Dore. If Trump buckles to Zionist overlords and joins Israel's psychotic war of aggression against Iran, he will tank his presidency and go down as another colossal loser like George W. Bush. MAGA needs to do everything they can to stop this from happening. If they fail, Trump is cooked. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Look at this guy. This guy is the son of the former Shah of Iran. So Shah of Iran got chased out of Iran, then he died of cancer shortly after. But he's hated enough that there was a revolution. You don't have a revolution unless the current government's really hated. So this is his son still trying to get back to Iran. But he hasn't done anything since they got kicked out. He's just lived abroad. Nice suits, nice dinner, nice first class aircraft, air fights, whatever. And now he's waiting to go back to Iran. Look, what a joke. Look at this guy.
Hopefully liberate our country, and the world can finally breathe a sigh of relief that they no longer have to fear nuclear threats, terrorism, radicalization, and so on and so forth.
And during the Iraq War, they brought out like some Iraqi guy that said, "Oh, this guy can lead the new Iraq," and everybody hated him apparently. So it's the same dude. Like they're just gonna bring this guy in. Like, let's bring this guy in. His dad boiled political opponents alive in acid. Iran should be a democracy, but not with this clown. Yeah. I wouldn't substitute the mullahs for this guy. I would let them decide. Let's see. If they decide to bring this guy back, let them bring him back. There he is again, doing the rounds. Find it crazy that the West wants to make this wannabe Shah the Iranian leader again. Imagine someone coups the U.S. government and installs the British king back. Yeah, like, he's been gone 45 years. I don't think they're going to bring him back, but they'd be crazy enough to put him in. Because he's pretty Israel compliant. Randy Hillier says, many Canadians and Americans cry out, whine, and complain about foreign interference in their elections, but love regime change through war, violence, and death. Oh, the irony of Western culture. Yes. We shouldn't whine like bitches when we do it. And worse, we do it. All right. Next post. U.S. pretending it was negotiating helped to make Iran lower its guard so Israel could launch a surprise attack. Who will trust negotiations with the U.S. again? So, yeah. So either two things are true. Either one thing's true. They attacked Iran without telling Trump, or Trump knew an attack was coming and he led the Iranians on. So, pretty sure he knew the attack was coming. So if he did that, it's disgraceful, really, because say what you will about Iran, but they're deceivers. Donald Trump is a deceiver because you violated centuries of diplomatic tradition, and you hurt your country in the long run when you act like that. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to be nice to the Iranians. Oh, you deceived the Iranians. No. When you become a deceiver, you deceive yourself. And you'll tell yourself anything. And obviously, centuries of diplomatic tradition and statecraft. it's not something to be proud of. It's kind of like when the phrase in Game of Thrones invited Stark into the wedding for the red wedding, and then they screwed him over, even though they promised him safe sanctuary. It's kind of the same idea, and it hurts you more than them. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. Again with the Calistanis, I wanted to talk more of this, but I've been following the stupid Iran thing all day. But these Calistani guys, they got to go. There's not really much to talk about. They got to go. They got to go. Load those guys on a plane. Air India. This is good. Scott Horton.
Defend itself, and or do you think that this is just a bad idea?
Well, yeah, two separate questions.
Oh, it's a long one.
The way you framed it was launching an aggressive.
It was good. He really destroyed this News Nation guy. News Nation's just a shill outfit. I wonder who's funding them. They're nice little graphics and whatever. They got Chris Cuomo there, though, so they're garbage. I'm not going to listen. But Scott Horn, I follow him. He's really good. Next. Oh, I like this one. I'm Israel. I started a war with Iran, and now Iran is fighting back, and that's not fair. I'm retarded. Yeah, this is what we're talking about, like them complaining about the getting hit with missiles. It's like, you've been hitting people with missiles for 2 years. It's hilarious. This is a good one. If you ever feel useless, just remember that USA took 4 presidents, thousands of lives, trillions of dollars, and 20 years to replace the Taliban with the Taliban. That's what we're going to happen here. That's what we're facing here. People like this, who ran this operation, are the same ones running the Iran operation. So, there you go. But you know that trillions of dollars, it went somewhere. Oh, you can bet you know where it went. All right. Here's another thing we're talking about, the Israelis. This is what they were doing when they were bombing Gaza. They were making fun of these. And now they're acting all like, "Oh, they're bombing us." I remember this. I remember they were making these videos of dead Gazans. And they're making fun of them because their water was shut off. So yeah, they mock dead children, now they whine. Pathetic, really. And then again, like, that's another running story. I mean, it's all obviously it's propaganda. They want to look like the victims. I don't know how they say this shit with a straight face. So the spokesman for the IDF says Iran is targeting civilians, and that's why Iran is a terror regime. So a country that targets civilians is a terror regime. Got it. Yeah, like, these guys are just so...
And dozens were injured. This is the face of Iranian terror regime. We strike at nuclear capabilities and military capabilities that were supposed to annihilate Israel, but they are targeting civilians. And this is exactly why we launched this operation, to remove this existential threat from over Israel, the nuclear and missile threat.
Yeah. So, anyway. So when they bomb, they're bombing terrorists, but when people bomb Israel, they're targeting civilians. So that's how it works. Okay. Here's the Shah again. He's all over the place. He's got a message for the G7 leaders. Like, look at this guy. Piece of shit. He hasn't even been in Iran his whole life. Honest question. Mullahs of Iran are still in power after 45 years of sanctions, wars, and assassinations. Why haven't people led by this clown, this guy, remove them if they're so weak and hated? What's the deal? I'm genuinely curious. Like, is this 45 years? Is this going to happen now? I don't know. It sounds like Iran is a very complex place, so I don't know what the hell they're going to do. But this clown, look at him. All right. Here's more whining. 10 Israelis reportedly murdered by Iranian missiles tonight in their homes. The Israeli military is fighting the Iranian military. Iranian military is fighting Israeli civilians. So yeah, that's the way they want to frame it, of course. When we bomb, they're terrorists. When they bomb, they're civilians. So, okay. Here's another meme. Oh, another war and still no Epstein arrests. Exactly what I voted for. Here's this. What's this? Tel Aviv pub celebrates the flattening of 6 apartment blocks in Beirut, the sign of a sick and depraved society. Let's see what they say. Yeah. I'm not saying they shouldn't, if they want to bomb others, they want to go to war, that's whatever, but they shouldn't bitch when they get bombed, that's all. War's hell. Here's Doug Ford, little Canada news. He's complaining about this, all these people arrested in a drug seizure and a big drug arrest. They're all out in bail. Doug Ford's like, this is disgusting. We need the federal government to get serious about bail reform now. We need tough on crime judges who put criminals behind bars, not let them out walking on our streets. So yeah, he's the best buddies with the Liberals. He hasn't said anything. He could do a lot as an Ontario premier to toughen up laws on his end. And he let all these Indians into Ontario. Now they're flooding the court system. He's gonna whine about it. He's a fat traitor. Yes. He helped bring all these Indians to Ontario. Next. All right. Here, Jagmeet Singh. To think this guy was helping make policy in Canada, he's says he shouldn't have gone to the Kendrick Lamar concert because Drake called him a goof. So just when you think you couldn't be a bigger loser, he exceeds the expectations. So good job, Jagmeet. Here's another one. Canada summer job fair lineup. Fucked. I bet in Toronto it's like that for sure. Next, this is Yair Lapid's son's. This is Israeli opposition leader. He's whining about his apartment damaged in one of the Iranian strikes. Like, come on, man. You guys just flattened the whole. I don't like anybody's house being bombed. Nobody does. I mean, I don't. I don't care whose house it is. Even my enemies, even somebody I don't like, I don't want to see their house bombed. But it boggles the mind how Israelis whine about it so much after they flatten Gaza, and they just take glee in flattening. They get the lawn chairs out and watch it. Here are a bunch of Gonzalez's cousins from who knows where, Venezuela, El Salvador, who knows. Connection with series of York region break-ins. So they're a gang. Deport. Send them south. That's never going to happen either. We're in big trouble here. We have to assume everyone here is not going to leave. At least maybe try and stop the incoming, but that's not even happening. All right. Israel's close intermingling of military and civilian sites makes it difficult to know what Iran is aiming its missiles at. When Hamas does this in the tiny Gaza Strip, Israel accuses it of using human shields. So yeah, I bet the Israeli version of the Pentagon is like right in the middle of Tel Aviv. So, go figure. Human shields. This is Donald Trump 10 years ago. We spent $2 trillion in Iraq. We lost thousands of lives, thousands in Iraq. We have wounded soldiers who I love. They're great. All over the place, thousands and thousands of wounded soldiers, and we have nothing. So, That's what he's talking about, Iraq. Maybe he thinks they'll just bomb them and send missiles and nuke them. That's why I'm worried. He might nuke them instead if he's so worried about the soldiers. Here's Dave Smith going ballistic on Trump.
Bases and embassies in the region, and we are very vulnerable to them. And it was in 2007 that the Pentagon told George W. Bush that we cannot go to war with Iran because we do not have escalation dominance against them, essentially meaning that they can hit all of our bases and embassies in the region, and we are very vulnerable to them. And we've already seen demonstrated since the Israeli attack that the Iranian, the missiles that they sent last year toward Israel, as many of us guessed, that wasn't really their best. They were intentionally making an attack that wouldn't really hurt anybody, that wouldn't really lead to a war, which Iran has done over and over again. But now we've pushed them to the point where they probably don't feel that they have the option not to respond. And Donald Trump telling them to come back to the negotiating table now is a joke. Yeah. I mean, what a impotent leader to be sitting there talking about coming back to the negotiating table. It's like sitting after Pearl Harbor and telling FDR, now's the time to go negotiate with the Japanese. Negotiations are over now. The time for negotiations was before this. And so, yeah, Donald Trump looks, and man, I supported him this last year. I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation. At the time, it seemed like the right one. But he should be impeached and removed for this one, and not on some not on some ridiculous Nancy Pelosi. Of course, the Congress will never do it because they're all a bunch of corrupt hacks.
This is the one thing they support. This is like the
Donald Trump should be impeached and removed for this. All of his supporters should turn on him. It's the absolute betrayal of everything that he ran and campaigned on and everything that he stood for. And I will say, despite the fact that, Donald Trump supporters have been labeled like a cult following, and that certainly is true for a percentage of his supporters, he is going to lose his coalition over this. I know, I don't just speak for myself when I say there are a lot of us who simply will not go along with this. So it's just a devastating mistake. By the way, on top of that, he's also going to lose the deportation fight because of this. Because right now he needed all the political capital he could have to turn that, you got a majority support for deportations, but the minority is very mobilized and they're out and they're protesting all around the country. He needed all of his political capital for that move. So here's what we got. The neocons win. More war abroad and, bomb the world and invite the world. No matter who you vote for, you always get John McCain.
Mm-hmm. So he's pretty pissed. He's calling for Trump's impeachment. I don't know. We'll see how things go. I think I kind of agree with him. I think it's going to be a disaster, but I think Trump must be on the Epstein list because he doesn't want to he's going through with this. Here's another thing. Here's another different investigation with a bunch more Indians getting charged. So Rupa Subramanya, who's been very vocal lately on this, she doesn't want to get deported. We could keep her, probably. Every one of these losers is Indian, except maybe the women. Most are under 30, very likely recent immigrants. But that's changing fast. We're importing rapists, criminals, and violent offenders from India. So yeah, what the hell, man? Keep bringing more Indians in. Great strategy, Canada. Next, Dave Smith. Don't worry, guys. Have it on good authority from all the people who sold the war in Iraq that Iran was developing WMDs. The war will be a cakewalk and we will be greeted as liberators. I haven't yet heard that will be paid for in oil, but I'm sure that's all right. Yeah, that's the thing that bugs me about this Iran thing. It's deja vu, man. Deja vu, Iraq. If you're around for Iraq, 2003, you'll know what I'm talking about. And the same guys pushing for this war were the same criminals pushing for the Iraq war. And the fact that they're still around, not in jail, boggles the mind. So, here's Trump talking in the G7 today. He seems like he's losing his mind.
Have you heard any signals or seen any messages from intermediaries that Iran wishes to de-escalate the conflict.
Yeah.
What have you heard? What have you heard from the Iranians?
They'd like to talk, but they should have done that before. I had 60 days, and they had 60 days. And
So it sounds like the decision's already made.
We don't have a deal. They have to make a deal, and it's painful for both parties. But I'd say Iran is not winning this war, and they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
When he says talk, he means surrender, give up power. That's what he means. He should just say that. Yeah, very confusing. Very confusing. So, obviously, the hope for them not, Trump not betraying his base and starting another war, I think that's gone. And at this point, appears, judging by everything, that Israel and the new neocons, the ones that started the Iraq War, will view the only acceptable outcome as an Iraq-style solution. That means not only the elimination of Iran's nuclear program, but also regime change and the fragmentation of Iran into warring factions, just like the stabilization in Iraq, Libya, Syria, even Lebanon. It's all fragmented to a certain degree. So, like I said, they have no problem with that. All right. There's Jeremy McKenzie saying, Iran didn't tell my family to get experimental medical procedures or lose their jobs. China didn't call me a terrorist and try to put me in jail forever for speech. Russia didn't cancel and trample the Charter of Rights and take my bank account. Canada did. Yeah, I'm getting the feeling that they're not really looking out for our interests when they say they're going to protect us from Iran. I kind of think if they're not doing that. Okay. Dave Smith, according to Netanyahu and other sources, Trump had full prior knowledge of Israel's attack and gave it his blessing while pretending to be negotiating with the Iranians as cover. If this is true, then the U.S. is already at war with Iran, as we facilitated an aggressive sneak attack by our proxy with our weapons. Tucker Carlson told Steve Bannon that he knows for a fact that this isn't true. He claims that Witkoff and Trump were negotiating in good faith and wanted to avoid this war and reach an agreement. So if this is true, Trump is the most impotent bitch of a leader imaginable. He's allowing one side of a war who clearly wants to drag us in to lie about our involvement while not correcting the record, okay? Either way, Trump's betrayed MAGA and every principle of America first. No longer worthy of our support. Probably never was. Yeah, like, either he knew about the attacks and he was a deceiver, which I think it's hard to say. I think maybe he knew, but Witkoff didn't. Or he didn't know about the attacks and Netanyahu's got him by the balls and he's yanking. Either way, it's bad. And then Pierre is chiming in on the violent thugs from India. But he doesn't say they're from India. He said they're just violent thugs. It's like, where did the violent thugs come from, Pierre? They came from India. And he wanted more flights from Amritsar to bring more here. All right. There's Tom Cotton, senator for Arkansas, of all places. All he talks about is Israel, though. I call him Tel Aviv Tom. Forever war is the war that Iran has waged against the United States, Israel, and the civilized world since 1979. Yeah, I don't remember Iran invading any country. In fact, they got invaded by Iraq with the help of the U.S. So, Tel Aviv Tom strikes again. And there's Mark Mitchell Rasmussen. The point appears to be regime change, not bombs. So yeah, we figured that out because the goalpost got moved. It went from not supporting terror proxies to no enrichment, to no facilities, to bombing, to regime change. Like, the goalposts keep going until it's full-blown war. And here, we've seen this movie before. If you've lived through the Iraq
Been
War,
part of its nuclear program in the past. Information from a high-ranking
I remember
Iraqi
this. Look at
nuclear
this guy.
engineer who had
Oh.
defected revealed that despite his public promises, Saddam Hussein had ordered his nuclear program to continue. The evidence indicates that Iraq is reconstituting its nuclear weapons program.
Yeah. Sound familiar?
Saddam Hussein has held numerous meetings with Iraqi nuclear scientists, a group he calls his nuclear mujahideen.
The nuclear
His
mujahideen.
nuclear holy warriors. Satellite photographs reveal that Iraq is rebuilding
None of this true.
facilities at sites that have been part of its nuclear program in the past.
None of this true.
Iraq has attempted to purchase high-strength aluminum tubes and other equipment
Aluminum
needed for gas
tubes.
centrifuges, which are used to enrich uranium for nuclear weapons. If the Iraqi regime is able to produce, buy, or steal an amount of highly enriched uranium a little larger than a single softball, it could have a nuclear weapon in less than a year.
We heard that too.
And if we allow that to happen, a terrible line would be crossed.
Heard that too with Iran.
Saddam Hussein would be in a position to blackmail anyone who opposes his aggression. He would be in a position to dominate the Middle East. He would be in a position to threaten America. And Saddam Hussein would be in a position to pass nuclear technology to terrorists. Some citizens wonder, after 11 years of living with this problem, why do we need to confront it now?
Why?
And there's a reason. We've experienced the horror of September the 11th.
Yeah.
We have seen that those who hate America are willing to crash airplanes into buildings full of innocent people.
So anyway, you get the message. Like, the guy was like, it's totally Iran redux, like Iraq redux. It's crazy. Anyway, we're gonna sleep on it. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll be back here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'll see what happens if the big war starts overnight. Until then, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a nice night.